Hello and welcome everyone to this masterclass on how to grow your jewelry business in 2024. Lovely to see you all. My name's Jessica Rose. If we've not met before, really nice to meet you. And yeah, I'm excited to talk about this topic. We are on a Zoom, so you can have cameras on, cameras off, however you feel comfortable, pajamas, eating dinner, putting the kids to bed, whatever, whatever you need. Please feel comfy. And there is a chat, so I'd love you guys to connect with each other as well. So do come and say hello on the chat while we're just waiting for everyone to come in and let us know where you are tuning in from today. If you have a jewelry business, then you're on Instagram or anything like that, feel free to share it because I always think these classes are a great opportunity for people to network with each other who've not met each other before and be like, make some jewelry friends. So Helen is here. Helen says, hello, everyone. Anna Campbell's here from Edinburgh. Anna is also our community manager here at Jewellery Academy. So she is going to be joining me tonight in the chat and kind of helping out with any links and technical questions and things like that. Emma is here from Northern Ireland. Welcome, Emma. Ethiopia is here. Hello. Sarah is here. Great to be here from Winchester. Rini is here as well. Who else do we have? Joanne. Hi, all. Joe from Rockpool Jewelry. Hi, Joe. Rockpool Jewelry on Insta. Hi from Kent. I'm thinking about doing the diploma and starting a new career as a jewelry maker. Love that. Very exciting. Make sure you come along to our diploma open day as well. Naomi is here. She's in the New Forest. And a student. Lovely to see you, Naomi. Brilliant. So all coming in. So keep saying hi to each other. It's just lovely to be together on a Thursday evening, or it may be a different time of the day for you, working on growing our jewelry businesses. And I thought this would be a really nice class to do because it's we're coming to the end of January. I always find that January can be a little bit of a slump for jewelers. Like we just get exhausted over Christmas. We need a little bit of downtime and we're just easing into it. And then now is a great time to start thinking about the growth you want this year and kind of the actions that we can start to take because we've got a whole year, we've got a lot of time and there's lots we can do in that time, but we also don't want to feel totally overwhelmed with doing too much in that time. So it's kind of getting that balance right for you and your business. So hopefully today I'm going to help with some ideas and some thoughts. There's lots in here. So pick out the bits that are most useful for you that you can apply to your jewelry business. And I'm going to be talking about 2024 and what's different because a lot of the things are the same. How you grow your jewelry business every year, there's going to be a lot of the same things, but there's always a few little tweaks and changes. So I'll be talking about those as well. So first of all, I just want to say how excited I am that you want to grow. I always think it's such an amazing energy to kind of think, actually, I've got this business and I want to take it further. Or perhaps I don't have a business yet, but I want to start something. And I think that entrepreneurial spirit, that kind of creativity that we have, and they're the same thing for me, creativity and, kind of building a business is creating something that it didn't exist before. We're all creatives. We all have that within us. It's just great that you're here and you're showing up. So let me know in the chat on a scale of 1 to 10, how ready are you for that growth, for that next chapter? And it's okay to be wherever you are. If you're like, to be honest, I'm not really ready, but I'm just showing up and let's just see what happens, that's fine. If you are up there at a 10 and you're like, I just can't wait, this is going to be my year, that's amazing as well. So we have lots of 10s. Amazing. Zara's a 10. Lorna is a 10. Sonia, I think, was a 10. Carissa, lots of 10s. Emma is so ready but scared to start a business. Exciting. And I'm glad you mentioned fear because I feel like that's part of the process. There's sometimes this myth that we should have no fear and everything should just feel natural and easy. But I think anything that you really care about, whether it's embarking on parenthood or, getting married to someone or buying a house or, opening a business, these huge life changes, it's normal, and I think it shows that you care about it. So we'll have a little bit of that feel the fear and do it anyway, but also it's how we manage those emotions so that we can still have a really good energy going into our business. Madeline is going to say a 10. Abigail's a 9. Still very high. Love that, Abigail. Christina's a 9 as well. You guys are all high. I love this. Sometimes I do this quite a lot with people, and sometimes they're like, to be honest, I'm at a 4, but I would like to. I'm just not really, I just don't really have the energy at the moment. But it's great that you're kind of, all different levels. Helen is a 3. I'm glad you're here, Helen. I'm glad that you made it, because I know it can be harder, and I feel like each day we can change as well. Some days we're like, yes, I'm ready. I'm going to do this. And other days we're like, well, I'd like it to happen, but I'm not too sure about it all. Brilliant. Well, whatever level you're at, you're here, and you've decided that you want to grow on some level. And so we're going to work from where you are and just move you a step forwards. And I think knowing what you want is the first step. So that's exciting already that you've got that, because, sometimes that can be, a lot of people can get stuck there, not knowing, do I want to do a business? Do I want to keep this as a hobby? What do I want to spend my time on this year? So let's have a look at some of the things that it takes to grow a jewelry business in 2024, which, like I said, not hugely different to every other year. I've been teaching this for, nearly 20 years now, and a lot of it's the same, but a lot has also changed. And there's definitely kind of things that I find really helpful as we go into New Year's to think, okay, these are going to be the kind of almost like business trends for the year, things that we need to focus on. So in this session, we'll be looking at what to look out for in terms of growth for you guys in 2024. We'll look at you as the business owner and kind of what you need in order to grow, and also look at the business and what that needs in order to grow, because I think they're quite different things, but both really, really important. If we're just growing the business and not looking at ourselves and growing ourselves, we put all of the energy into the business and we become very depleted. So we kind of need to, there's you and there's the business, and we need to look after both at the same time in order for this growth to be sustainable. And I'll be talking today a bit about the Jewellery Business Academy, which is the main way that we support jewelers to grow their businesses. It's a 1-year program. It's open at the moment. And if you're thinking of joining, I would highly recommend signing up by Sunday. I'll talk to you a bit about that towards the end of the session. But the price is going up on Sunday, and then it is closing a week from then. So that's, it's a year-long program where we can kind of work together as a community and support you guys in your growth journey. So over the years, I started off teaching jewelry making classes, and I still do that, but I did a lot of in-person jewelry making classes at a place called the London Jewelry School, which was in Hatton Garden in London. And over about 13 years, we trained around 40,000 people in jewelry making techniques there. And quite early on, I realized that once people had learned to make jewelry, the next step was, how do I make money from this? How can I run this as a business? Because either I want to run it as a business, or I just want to keep making. And in order to fund it, I need to make some more money. And so that's when I started kind of teaching jewelry business. And having done it for so many years, I've kind of, we've worked out, me and the team and everyone who's kind of part of the business team, what you need to grow a jewelry business. And the great news is that it isn't all that hard. It's like a series of things that we just need to kind of work through. But often it can feel impossible. It's one of those things, like putting air in your tires. It's not hard, but when you can't do it, it's impossible. And it feels like you're never going to be able to do it until you get it. And then you're like, okay, I've kind of got this. So I very much believe that everybody can run a successful jewelry business, no matter who you are, where you're from, what your background is. And I think having the faith is an important part of the process, because there will be those natural ups and downs. And that's why we do it together as a community. And so whether it's feeling easy or impossible for you at the moment, we're going to work with it and kind of move forward. So let's start off with some specifics about 2024. So we'll go into some more general jewelry business growth strategies after this. But the things that I've noticed from kind of my research and talking to people, I do a lot of business training myself, and also just looking at the jewelry industry, as I do all the time, is one of the important things this year, and it's been moving this way anyway, but even more so, is to really focus on the quality of the relationships that you have, not the quantity. So this always makes me think of things like Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, wherever you are online. It's not about getting lots and lots of followers. It's not about having loads of people on your mailing list. It's not about having millions of people visit your website. It used to be in the past more, that was more important. And obviously it's nice to have, you know, these metrics, and it's nice for things to grow. But there's no point in having 5,000 people that follow you and nobody buying from you, because in terms of a business, there's no income in just followers. So really focusing on the quality of those relationships, and how we do that is, it's wild, but it is by talking to people in the most human way that we possibly can. Now, everything's quite digital these days. So obviously, if you're at an event or a fair, it's easier. You can connect with people in that way. So for some people, that's easier. For some people, it's more challenging. But online things like doing voice notes to people, or sending little videos, or having very human ways of connecting. And instead of doing kind of throwaway comments with people, really engaging with them. So if somebody engages with your business, really being there and present to engage back. So focusing on that quality of the relationships, not the quantity, is going to be something really important for this year. And I think that it's a great thing, because it's moving away from this, we need all of these things and this overwhelm, to more connection. And that's where people buy from, that place of connection, trust, all of those things. So the next thing, and again, a lot of these have been going in this direction, but they're even more so going to be this year: sustainable or eco-friendly businesses and or businesses that are based on your values are on the rise. So this is across all business sectors, but I think it's great news for jewelers, because a lot of us are interested in how can we be more sustainable? How can we be more eco-friendly? How can we do what we can to look at the ethics behind our businesses? And not only are they on the rise, but I think how we communicate it to customers and how we put those values at the core of what we're doing. And it doesn't just have to be sustainable and eco-friendly. There can be other values that you have. Really leading with that, because that is a point of difference for you versus other people who aren't doing that. And it's something that, you know, if you think about yourself as a consumer when you're buying things, I know for me, I do want to feel good about my purchases, and I do want to know that I'm, you know, buying into a company that I feel aligned with in terms of values. And if there is something that has these things, and especially if I believe that they're genuinely trying, we can't do everything, you know, as small business owners, but we're doing our best, then these things are really helpful for building that trust again with customers and people just generally wanting to buy from us. So the next thing that I think is really important for 2024 is to play to our strengths when it comes to marketing. So again, in the past, perhaps in the old days, it would just be what's working and we just do that. But nowadays, there isn't really one thing that's working. You can make anything work for you if you enjoy it, if you spend time there, and if you kind of go into it. So in the past, I would have said, you know, oh, Instagram's really like, you know, blowing up, it's doing loads of stuff, or YouTube, there's loads of growth there. A lot of these platforms now are quite saturated, and I don't mean that in a way that you can't develop an audience there, but that they're kind of all similar in terms of, you know, you've got to put the work in, you've got to show up, you've got to be present, you've got to talk to people. So the good thing is it doesn't really matter where you do it, but pick something that suits you and your unique style. And for some of you, that won't be online at all. It will be doing events and things that are face to face. And but think about how you like to talk to people. How do you talk to your friends? Do you message each other? Are you on WhatsApp? Are you voice noting? Are you someone who likes to pick up the phone and call someone? Do you like emailing people? Because the way that you communicate usually is going to be your strongest method of communication. So if you can build that into your business and make that a core part of what you're doing, it's going to feel much better, and it's going to come across, more authentic, more sustainable, and you're going to attract customers who also like that method of communication. So in a way, the playing field's more open now. You can choose what you want to do. None of them are that easy, but if you kind of just show up and keep doing it and are consistent to the best of your ability, you can build an audience anywhere you choose. So the next specific for 2024, and this one has been for a while, and I'm a big fan of this one, is building community around your business. So as well as selling, we're building a general feeling of everyone is welcome here. I want to talk to anyone who wants to talk to me, and having things that people can get involved in if they can't buy from you or they're not ready to buy from you yet. So simple ways of building community around your business would be having a social media platform where they can talk to you regularly, or an email list where you can send out newsletters. But there's lots of creative ways that you can use to build community around your business. And it's finding ways to start conversations, and it's finding ways, and things like your values that we talked about before are great starting points for this. So if your values are based around being sustainable, then you can build a community of people who are interested in that, and give them tips and give them advice and kind of have conversations around it. So it's broadening our ideas of what a business is, what marketing is. Marketing is just talking to people in a way that makes them feel comfortable, makes you feel comfortable, and some of it will end in a sale, some of it won't, and that's okay. So that is another thing that we can kind of focus on this year. The next one, which I really love, is developing a mindset of joy in your business. So I think that, the world can be a tricky place, and there are plenty of places that people can go to hear bad news. And there are plenty of places that people can go to, to not feel good. And I think if you can build a mindset, or, do what you can to build a mindset of just doing the things that you love doing. And that's a great thing that we have, is that we do this because it's a passion. We're not doing it because we have to. We're not doing it because we need money. We all do need money, but we could do something else that would make money, which we've chosen this way. And I think really kind of untapping that and showcasing that and bringing out the joy of the creativity, the joy of the making, the joy of your customers. That is what's going to attract people to you. That is what's going to get people to buy from you as well. So it's interesting when we look at sales, often we ask people actually this week what their biggest struggles were in their jewelry business. And one of the big one is always sales, which makes sense to me. But when we think about the solution to sales, it's kind of everything. But one of the biggest things is the energy that you're selling from. So this is where we're going to be talking about filling you up as well as your business, because you are the representative. And it's not like a fake joy, like you have to be happy when you're not. It's tapping into that part of you that really wanted to do this and that now is doing this. And that when that actually comes out in your making, when you're talking, like I can feel it in me now. Like I love doing what I'm doing, and it's kind of like an energy that comes out when you're in that zone. So tapping into that and sharing that with people is definitely a key part of growth. And then finally, and again, this one's been for a while, but I feel like it's getting more and more important, is using our focus as an antidote to overwhelm. So the world is becoming more and more overwhelming in terms of the online space and more content and all of these things. So people are not looking for more, but they are looking for kind of targeted, focused, specific things. So if we can answer a question, if we can provide a solution, if we can create a space, and this is where people talk about having a niche, because it's really helpful to say, I know that jeweler, I know what they make, and that's what I want. And that's answering my question, that's solving my problem very specifically, as opposed to kind of the more like general stuff, which means I, as the customer, need to make more decisions, which can then put me in like more of the overwhelmed state. So there's a lot in there already. Like I said, you don't need to take all of them on, but maybe pick one or two and just think, okay, how can I build this into my business this year? So they are my kind of specifics for 2024. So next up, we're going to have a think about your business in terms of two sections: what you need as the maker in order to grow and thrive in what you're doing, and what the business needs in order to grow and develop. So you will need industry-specific knowledge. The jewelry industry is a very specific industry, and whilst I'd say maybe 60 to 70% of what we do could be applied to most small businesses, you know, like building a social following, having email marketing, setting up a website. There's also a lot of specific things that we do, like hallmarking, working with precious metals, working with gemstones. Pricing is a lot more complex than in some other industries. Building the trust, the relationship, because jewelry is a trust-based purchase. It's usually more expensive. It's a luxury item. And, you know, just understanding how the industry works, but also how to build a business like this and make it profitable, because it's very easy to build a very busy jewelry business that doesn't make any money. And if you've done that, or you feel like you're doing that, you know, don't blame yourself. I think we all start with that. And then we go back and think, okay, I'm doing a lot, but there's no profit here. So now how can I build the profit in? So things like that, industry specific, I think really helps in this industry. You'll also need focus and clarity on what to work on next. So this again comes back to the kind of overwhelm. So as a small business owner, most of us are doing everything. We don't have a team of people working behind us. We are responsible for all areas of the business. And that can really be kind of put us in a place of like feeling stuck because there's too much to do. We don't know where to start. And again, we can get very busy doing lots of things, but not focusing on the things that are actually going to grow the business. So having that focus and that clarity on what is next, what is the next step in front of you, is going to be really important to growing your business. The other thing that I think jewelers need and have seen work really well is building connection with other makers, other people who understand what you're going through, what the unique challenges are, and networking opportunities. So opportunities to meet people who can help you grow your business, but also people who might be potential customers or know people. There's so much I've learned over the years through networking. I wouldn't always call it networking. It's just being around other people growing their businesses or working in the jewelry industry. And I always learn just, you know, incredible things. And sometimes it's just that one little thing that someone says and it just changes everything. And you think, gosh, I'm so glad that I had that conversation, because we can't do this stuff all on our own. Support and encouragement along the journey. I think we all need that. We love what we're doing, and there's times when we're super energetic about it. But if you've had a difficult customer who's, you know, not been very kind to you, or those days where like your suppliers haven't turned up on time, or you underpriced something and now you've got to sell a piece, knowing full well you're not going to make any money from it, there's always challenges that come up. And you know, having people who can sort of support you in that time is so important, because this is a long journey for most of us. You might be doing this for 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, you know, it's endless. So, and that's a great thing, but it also means that you kind of need some marathon runners alongside you. And then I believe it's really helpful to have feedback to help steer you in the right direction. So if we're going along a path, and I have business mentors for this exact reason, and I think, okay, this is what I'm going to do. I feel good about this. It's kind of going well. But somebody else has a different perspective, and somebody else who kind of knows and understands my business can say, have you thought about this? You know, just little adjustments which can make a huge difference again to how it all kind of pans out. So the Jewellery Business Academy, which again I'll talk more about at the end, is kind of our solution to this. When we were thinking about how can we best help jewelers, what do they need? How can we provide that support? We have the industry specific business training, which we're going to do a little bit more of today. So every month we focus on a topic in the Business Academy, and we work on training in there. There's quarterly planning sessions, so we get together and have that kind of accountability, but also that focus on clarity on, okay, the next 90 days, what are we doing together? And a big part of focus, and I'm always doing this with jewelers, is saying, what can you not do? Because often there's like 25 things that we want to do in the next 90 days. But if you could just pick 1, 2, 3 things, what would they be? There's one-to-one business support, so having that feedback, helping to steer the ship in the right direction, and a group mentoring program for that community kind of support aspect. So I will share a little more about that later. Next up, we'll have a look at what business needs. So you're supported, you've got your team, you've got your crew, you've got your knowledge is expanding, you've got focus, you've got clarity, you know what you're working on next, you're in the zone. So what are we kind of putting all this energy towards? What are the business needs? So first of all, always with any business that I look at is the product, and for us that's jewelry. So what is the jewelry that you're selling? And we want to make sure that you have something that you love making, that you're excited to sell to people, that people want to buy from you. And honestly, if you love making it and you're excited to sell it to people, generally the third one kind of comes. So don't fall into the trap of trying to think, what will people want to buy from me? Because what I often see when people do that, and I know it's very tempting, is we all end up making the same stuff. We're like, oh, everyone wants stacking rings, we'll just all make stacking rings. And nothing wrong with stacking rings, love stacking rings, but I think thinking about your unique style as a jeweler, what really lights your soul, when we're talking about finding that mindset of joy, and to have that, you want to be making stuff that you love making. That's going to come through. And, if your business is successful, you're going to be making a lot of this stuff. So we want to make sure that it's something, that really excites you. So if you're on live and you feel like sharing in the chat, come and let me know, what kind of jewelry do you love making? It'd be interesting to see. And I know sometimes it's hard to describe the type of jewelry you love, but in a nutshell, is it kind of botanical, or do you like working with gemstones, or do you do beaded jewelry, or do you do wire wrapping, or polymer clay, or I'd be interested to see what types of jewelry people love. And it gets us thinking about the jewelry, because sometimes in all of the business, we forget about the jewelry as a product. We don't forget about it that we've made it, but we can forget about what it represents and what it looks like to our customers. So Talia likes gemstone and wire jewelry. Love that as well. Awesome. And sometimes what the jewelry is changes over time. So what you made a couple of years ago might be quite different to what you make now. And what you're making now in a few years' time might evolve and change as well. Joanne likes ocean-inspired jewelry. Oh, the chat's going quite fast. My happy place with symbolism about our own imperfections, cast in place gems. Oh, love that. It sounds amazing. And I think, the way you describe it, and I'm sure this is the same for a lot of us, is that like, that's the joy. Like, I can see it already. I can see the vision of what you create. And I'm like, yes, I get that. Tashita likes recycled acrylic jewelry inspired by microscopic images from nature. Again, amazing. You really build up a picture, and it's like, wow, that's really interesting and so different and really cool. And, lots of you are sharing, which is brilliant. So keep sharing. It's nice to look at what other people, how other people describe their work, because it can start to help you reflect on your own, what do you make? And do you really kind of spend time thinking about what you love making and kind of develop that side of it? So our jewelry business needs jewelry, people. And I can't tell you how many times people are like, I need to create my website. And I'm like, okay, what are we launching? What's the jewelry you've got? And that I haven't made like a collection yet, or I haven't got anything specific to sell. And I think, well, this is the first step. We need the jewelry. We can't run a jewelry business without the jewelry. So yeah, just really making sure that we kind of develop that signature style, develop our relationship to our jewelry, and feel really proud of the jewelry that we're making and selling so that we want to sell it. I love selling the courses that we have because I believe in them. I would hate to sell, like on The Apprentice or whatever, where they're like, sell this ice cream that someone's made and it's not very good. And I would be terrible at that because I don't believe in what it is. And it's the same with our businesses. If you believe in what you're creating, you're going to want to sell it. And if you don't feel confident or comfortable, it's going to be harder for you to sell that. So step one is the jewelry. Alrighty. Step two is the vision. So it's important for us to know what we want and where we're going. And this is something that is constantly evolving. And actually in the Jewellery Business Academy last month, January, or this month, was all about vision setting, goal setting, planning. And this doesn't need to be complex, but I think just understanding what you want to create, how big do you want the business to be, even just simple things like how many hours a week do you want to work? What type of jewelry do you want to make? What do your customers want? What do you want your customers to be like? What do you want your day-to-day to look like? These things are really going to help us with that focus and clarity, because everything comes back to the vision when we're making decisions in our business. Should I do this or should I do that? It's like, well, what did I want? And once we know what we want, we can keep kind of guiding ourselves back to that. Step three is the brand. So in order to grow a jewelry business, again, I mentioned before that jewelry is a trust-based purchase. Often it's more expensive than, perhaps the average purchase that somebody would make. It's something that people, when someone's like, oh, I bought myself some jewelry, it's special. It's not something you just go to the grocery store and get. And therefore, having a brand that represents who you are, based around you as the maker, and connecting with your customer is a really important part of the process. It also helps it helps you to look professional. You have kind of consistency across what you're doing with your colors, with your logos. And again, branding or rebranding happens usually every couple of years in a jewelry business, because we are developing, we're evolving, and we're getting clearer ideas about what our customers want and need from us. So thinking about whether or not this is the year you might need to rebrand, or you're happy with your branding, or you want to work on how you're communicating your branding, because your branding isn't just your logo, it isn't just your colors, that's the visual representation. But what it really is kind of like a forum for you to connect again, and building that kind of consistency and professionalism in what you're doing. Step four is your photography. So growing a range of images to showcase your jewelry, but also you as the maker. So photography is so important in growing a jewelry business, especially if you're selling online. But even if you're selling in shops and galleries, you're going to want to have imagery. You're going to want to have things that attract people to you. So the photography, keeping it really inspiring. And, those of you guys that are new, if you're new and you're thinking, okay, I need to just get my first selection of photographs that represent my business. But if you're further down the line, we'll be thinking, what's the next stage for my photography? There's always more to be done in terms of photography. So is it looking at model shots? Is it looking at more lifestyle imagery? Is it looking at, videography as well? And that's something that's really been on the rise. Short form video is huge now. It's in some ways overtaking photography, not entirely. We definitely still need product photos, but kind of building videography into our website, these kind of things to showcase what we're making and to make it really easy for somebody to make a purchase from us. Step five, I've called connection. I wrote marketing and then I was like, let's change the word, but it's also known as marketing. So this is your way of having regular conversations and building relationships with your customers. And there's no right or wrong way to do it. But the important thing is that you are having regular conversations. For a lot of us, it is Instagram. There's a lovely community there of makers, but there's also lots of people who are purchasers and buying things. It could be Facebook. It could be through your email marketing. We usually recommend having one key social platform that you are able to commit to and show up on regularly. instead of trying to do all of them, trying to have one that is yours. It can be really tempting to sort of be like, oh, I should have Instagram and Facebook, and I probably should do TikTok as well. But it's too much for most makers to be able to show up on all of them as well as doing everything else and to do it well. So I'd recommend picking one and going all in with it. And then email marketing, which is kind of the next step in the journey. So once someone's found you on social media and they're chatting to you or they see you a bit, and then they might develop a little bit more of a relationship with you and sign up to your mailing list. And then they might move onto the website and make a purchase. So we're sort of having a little bit of a nurturing sequence for our customers to be able to get to know us gradually. Some people will just jump in and be like, I'm ready. I want to buy that ring. Give it to me. Which is great. And we want to be there for them. But some people just need to kind of linger, look around, know that you're in the background, sometimes for like a year or 2 years, because jewelry is not necessarily, it's not an everyday purchase. Somebody might be thinking about something for a birthday. They might get it and that's a whole year. We only get one of them a year. It's crazy. And it could be a couple of years before they're ready, looking for a special occasion. So don't get disheartened if you feel like people are not engaging with your business enough. I mean, there's always things that we can do, but there are often people lurking and lingering. And just trust that if you're doing these things, if you're making the effort to reach out and connect with your customers, that is enough. It will come over time. But I know that can be the hardest part, is just kind of keeping going, even when there doesn't feel like there's a lot of two-way interaction. Step 6 is having a website, a strong website where people can buy from you, that's optimized, that showcases and represents all the things we've talked about so far. Your vision, your values, your branding, your photography, some lovely product descriptions. And, it doesn't need to be super complicated. It doesn't need to have millions of pages, but just somewhere that I can go as a customer, feel like, okay, I trust this person. There's some reviews. I can buy from them. I feel like it's going to arrive at my door and I've got a way of contacting them. So just all the kind of simple bases covered. And I think sometimes we can overcomplicate things and feel like we need to do something really crazy and wild and out there, but actually just being consistent with all these things makes a huge difference. Number 7 is launching. So we definitely recommend having a go at using launching as part of your business model. And this is kind of doing like product drops or launches, which is like a kind of, it's a period of time where you are promoting something in your business. So instead of feeling like you need to constantly sell in your business, you might say, okay, it's Valentine's Day coming up. I'm going to do a 5 or 10 day promotional period around Valentine's Day. And during that time, I'm going to post every day, and every other day I'm going to talk about Valentine's. So you kind of have a strategy. It's part of your marketing strategy. And what it means is that you don't always need to do it. So there's kind of like an on and an off period, which is great for your customers because they're not constantly being bombarded with things. And so they see stuff because it's fresh. They've had a bit of a break. But it's also good for you because you get to have downtime. I say downtime, we've got a million other things to do. Make the jewelry, learn how to make the jewelry, tidy up the studio, all those kind of things, so that you're not always prioritizing your marketing. So it's kind of getting that balance right as well. And there's so much that you can learn and do around launches. It's a whole thing. So we definitely want to help and guide you with that. Step 8 is the money. It's great to have money in your business. It's a good thing. It's something that we want. And so in order to have money in our business, first of all, we have to choose that that's something we want. It's something that we believe is possible. It's something that we're going to go for, which is why we're here. So a few ways or a few little things we need to get right is pricing our jewelry correctly so that if we're selling something, it is a good thing for us. It's not just, I sold something, but I've made no money from that. It's, I've sold something and there's income coming in and I have profit. So pricing your jewelry correctly for whatever area of jewelry industry you're in. So whether you're working in wholesale, whether you're selling direct to your customers, whether you're creating fine jewelry, which is priced in a slightly different way as well, whether you're focused mostly on commissions, And then that's the kind of more technical side, like the pricing and managing your finances, but also having a supportive money mindset is key. So actually in the Jewellery Business Academy, we have a whole month where we focus on money in all these different ways. And mindset is a really big part of it, because how we think about money, our thoughts and our feelings about it have a massive impact on what is happening in our business. And a lot of it's unconscious. So kind of becoming aware of it, developing that self-knowledge so that we can say, I struggle with this. So this is how I'm going to overcome it in my business. This is something that I'm going to work towards, so that we can kind of give ourselves the best, set ourselves up for success in that way. And just, while we're on the topic of money, in case anyone has a belief that it's hard to make money from jewelry, it's not. You can do it. I mean, it can be hard to do anything, but it's absolutely possible, and I think it's just a case, for some people it comes quicker, for some people it takes longer, and separating out any kind of judgment of ourself, of our self-worth, of the worth of our jewelry. For me, when I see it happen for jewelry businesses, it's often just a case of a lot of things that we're already talking about kind of clicking into place. So it's not one thing, but it's over time and, over growth, which we're doing. Kind of just all the little things, the branding, the website, the photography, the product, all kind of clicking into place, and enough customers feeling confident in what you're doing so that you've built up those relationships. So it will all come, and perhaps it's already coming for a lot of you guys, and it's just about taking it to the next level. Step 9 are your emails. So I mentioned this before, email marketing is the #1 tool for actually selling your jewelry when it is done right. So usually we use social media, meeting in person, all these kind of connection points to build connection. But actually selling is a different thing. So we talk about in our marketing that there's kind of 3 stages. So we want to attract people to us. That's the first stage, is attract. And often we're posting things, or we're doing events, or we're putting ourselves out there in some way to attract people to us, to say, okay, this is what I do. I'm a jeweler and these are the things, and, all the good stuff. But just attracting people to us is not a sale. So the next stage is to engage with people, and there's lots of different ways that we can engage. We can do emails, we can send a direct message to them, we can have a general conversation, we can have a phone call. There's lots of different ways that we can engage with our customers. And then there is convert, which is the sale point. So it's important that we also have tools at that level. So emails can be used for engagement. They're not used for attraction because we've already got their email list. So we've already got them on the email list. So they're either engagement or they're converting. So if they're at the converting stage, we're saying this, look at this piece. This is where you can buy it. Off you go. And it works. It's amazing, but it works. So that is definitely something that I would recommend working on if you want to grow your jewelry business this year. Step 10, we talked about a little bit, but is video. So short form video is non-negotiable anymore. I am sorry if you were hoping that it would pass. It may change in the future because things always change. But if you never post a picture again and you just do video, that would be better than the other way around, because video is king. It's the main way you can build connections and sales, which lead to sales, I suppose, with your customers. So when we're talking about building a community around your brand, for most of us, that's going to be through short videos. So I would just say, if you don't like them, do your best to like them. Find a way to like them, because they are here to stay. If you really can't like them, then we need to choose a different kind of forum for you that isn't maybe that way. There are always exceptions to the rule, but for most of us, I mean, if I'm honest, I would rather it's not short form video. I like long form video. As you can see, I like to talk for a whole hour about something because I feel like there's so much to say, and doing it in 30 seconds, it's just not enough. But it is fun, and it is the way of, the marketing landscape at the moment. So embracing the video and trying to enjoy what it has to offer us. And even on our websites, having little videos is a great thing. And in a way, it can be easier than product photography because there is less expectation for it to look really kind of polished and clean. And there are lots of things that video can bring us, which are quite exciting for the growth of our businesses. Step 11 is sales. So this kind of brings all of this stuff together, but approaching your sales strategically is really key to growth. So what I've seen a lot of jewelers do is they kind of, and I know I did this when I started my jewelry business, I was just like, I'll just put stuff out there and see what happens. And there's nothing wrong with that at the beginning. You're kind of experimenting, you're learning, you're figuring out what you want, what your customers want. But approaching your sales strategically is about having a marketing plan, having launches planned throughout the year, having something that we call revenue generating activities, which are specific things that are, the goal of them is to bring income into your business. So we're not just sitting and waiting and hoping. But we are doing specific things at specific times with specific goals, using specific tools to bring about sales. And, sometimes they work and sometimes they don't, but every time we learn something from it and we can develop it and kind of take it forward to the next level. So there are ways to approach your sales that are not just praying, although there's nothing wrong with that too. We'll have it all. We'll have all the good stuff. So step 12, we are getting there, but I feel like I could have put 100 steps in, but we'll start with the ones that we've got here today. I think it's really important for a jewelry business to have recommendations. So, for example, where you're going to get your packaging from, your postage, and how you're going to manage your postage around the world, hallmarking, and what's working at the moment at different assay offices, if that's something in your country. What stone setters to use if you're using stone setters or polishers or platers, understanding tax and VAT. You're not meant to know all of this stuff by yourself. And again, like I've mentioned before, it's been so crucial for me on my whole business journey to be surrounded by other people running businesses. And the kind of closer their businesses are in similarity to mine, the more helpful it is in a way. So I think having other jewelers and other communities, and there's so many spaces now online where you can kind of ask and get support around these things. But not being afraid to ask, not being afraid to put the question out there, and reminding yourself that you don't need to figure it all out on your own. And having those recommendations is, kind of just moves you forward so much quicker than you ever could on your own, I think. So it's a lot. There's a lot of things in there. And a growth masterclass is always an interesting masterclass because it's kind of going through like everything you need to do. But you don't need to do it all in one go. You don't need to do it all this year. There's plenty of time. It doesn't always feel like it. I think there can be a trick that we play on ourselves that we feel like we need to do everything right now. But actually, one of my main mantras that I often share with myself and with everyone else is, one thing a day. If you want to grow your business from now until this time next year, try and just do one small task a day to work on it, whether it's just posting something on social media, that's a task, or whether it's responding to comments or responding to a customer, or going to visit a gallery that you'd one day like to have your work sold in, or coming to a masterclass. You've done your thing for today, you're here. So building a business does take time, and I think seeing that it does take time can be really helpful once we really understand that. And I know it sounds, so obvious, but once we slow things down, and what I often say to people is we're going to stretch the timeline. We can do all the things that you want to do, but we don't have to get them all done this year, this month, this week, this day. We often vastly overestimate what we can do in a day, but underestimate what we can get done in a year's time. So when we can spread it out and take our time and just build little building blocks, you see massive growth and massive changes. And I've seen that with literally thousands of jewelers now go through our programs. And we want to do it with you. We don't want to do it alone, which is why I'm going to share a bit about the Academy, because these are the things that we work on together. So like I mentioned before, it's a 1-year group training and mentoring program for anyone looking to start or grow a jewelry business. We have people at all different levels. We have people who are just starting out and haven't done anything before, and we have people who have been in business for 20 plus years. But the way the Academy is structured, it works really well for all different levels, and I'll explain a bit more about it. And the great thing is we can kind of help each other out, because a lot of what we do, there's obviously the training, but is bouncing things off each other. And you'll find that it's great to have other people with a similar business knowledge as you, but it's also great to have people with just totally different knowledge and perspectives coming and giving their thoughts as well. So, like I mentioned before, we have a monthly training around a core theme in developing a jewelry business. So, January was kind of planning, vision setting, getting started for the year month. February and March are a little bit different because we're running the Jewelry Business Bootcamp, which is an 8-week intensive program for jewelers, which we run every year. And it's a little bit, I always say it's like a little bit like an MBA in running a jewelry business, because it kind of covers everything. It's a very intensive kind of part of the year, but the rest of the year is a bit more spread out. So I think it's April, I think is photography month, and then we have an email marketing month. So on these monthly themes, we all work together on the same thing. So whether your business is new or whether you've been doing it for a long time, you'll be working on that same thing, that same theme, but to the level that you need to develop it for yourself. So there's a great energy in kind of doing that work together. And there's a Facebook group and spaces where you can talk about what you're doing and kind of move things along. Then we have 10 monthly group mentoring calls in small groups to build that kind of connection and community. So we find it really helpful to get together. And you'll have the same people in your group each month. So you get to know each other. You kind of give each other feedback and talk about things. We give you prompts. And there's mentors inside those groups so that you are supported as you're going through developing things in your business. Then you have an individual one-to-one mentoring call with a jewelry business expert in a topic of your choice. So at some point throughout the year, you will speak with one of the mentors, and let's say, you've decided that you really want to work on your money mindset, and that's an area that you've identified you want to grow in. You would have an individual session with somebody who has experience or has done that for themselves. Or let's say you want to get into shops and galleries, we will match you with a mentor or somebody who is doing that in their business so they can talk you through the process or whatever you need in that mentoring session. And then, like I said, we have the Jewelry Business Bootcamp, which is coming up, which is very exciting. So that is included in the Jewelry Business Academy year-long program. And you'll have quarterly business check-ins. So we just had one of these in January. At the beginning of each quarter, we get together as a group and we look at the next 90 days. We look at the last 90 days, what worked, what lessons we've learned, what things, what direction our business is going in. Then we also look forward to the next 90 days and say, okay, what are the key goals? What things do we want to get done? What can we let go of? These kind of things. So it's great opportunity to get together in the bigger group of everyone in the academy and kind of work on those together. And they're good fun. We have nice planning sessions. Like I mentioned, there's a dedicated Facebook group, so you can talk to everyone inside the academy at any time, ask questions, get support, feedback, share your woes around running your jewelry businesses. We are all here for each other. We have some exclusive discounts from suppliers in the trade, which we offer to the academy members. And there's always more stuff. There's always more things to get involved in. We also offer a certification for the year. So upon successful completion of the year of training, you will be awarded a certificate from Jewelers Academy. You do need to meet a minimum attendance requirement for this, but it's not difficult to do. And it's basically just for people who are showing up. So we can give you some more information when you join about what you need to do to get the certificate, if that's something that is of interest to you. Because I think we're talking about this and we're developing the academy, like imposter syndrome is a big thing for a lot of us. And this idea, like, can I run a business? Do I, am I good enough? Like, who am I to do it? And I think, committing to doing a year of training that ends in a certification that says, well, actually, I've trained for a year in how to run a jewelry business is a good way to, talk to your imposter syndrome and say, no, I can do this. I mean, you can do it without a certificate anyway, but I think that sometimes it is helpful to have these tangible things to remind ourselves, like, I've invested here time, energy, money, and yeah, I'm good. I've got this. I already mentioned about the bootcamp. It starts on Friday, the 2nd of February, which is next Friday. We are very excited. And it's an intensive kind of training for all levels, but you can dip in and out as much as you like. We do weekly live Q&A sessions throughout the bootcamp. So usually in the academy, it's kind of monthly, but this is kind of weekly. So we kind of ramp it up for those few weeks to get a lot of energy into the businesses and a good kickstart for the year ahead. So the fees for the Jewellery Business Academy for 1 year, the usual course fee is £1,600, but it is on offer at the moment for just £697. It will end on Sunday, that offer, and it is going to go up permanently after that. So I definitely recommend, if you want to joining by Sunday. We were going to put the price up already because there's quite a lot in there in terms of like the one-to-one mentoring and there's a big infrastructure behind the academy, but we wanted to offer it to people this was the price from last year, one last time, and kind of let you guys know before we put it up. And this is something where you can do it for a year and you can keep doing it if you want to. So it's something you can repeat as many times as you like. We have lots of people that go through our programs again and again because there's always, we always need to work on our businesses. We always need support. We always need mentoring, but it's also something you can do once and then you're done. So it's up to you. So for the whole year, it's £697, but we also have a 12-month payment plan. So that's only £59 a month, which makes it very affordable. And you should be selling that much jewelry at least each month. So you should be making it back. That is the goal for sure. So it is a 12-month program. So it's not a monthly program, but you can sign up and pay it in monthly installments if that is helpful. So the link to find out more is there, but it's quite a long link. So Anna will pop it in the chat so you can have a look, and you're very welcome to come join us. Yeah, I can just see in the chat. Yeah, whenever you sign up, it's 12 months from when you sign up. So whatever day you sign up, it's 365 days later. We also have a fast acting bonus because we like to reward people who are just like ready to go and make the commitment. So if you join while we're on the webinar, this session tonight, you will get a free digital copy of my book. So I have a book called Start and Grow a Profitable Jewelry Business. I know that some of you guys probably have it already in hard form, but we have a digital version as well. So you can have it on your laptop or your iPad, just kind of flip through it. It's a really lovely book. It's got loads of useful information about starting and growing a jewelry business. It's really going to help with this journey that you're on. So anyone who joins while we're on tonight, you don't need to do anything, but we will email you within the next couple of days your fast acting bonus, which is a link to that book, because why not? And if you don't have it and you want a hard copy, it's on Amazon. You can get it anytime. And for those of you that have got it, thank you. And I hope that you have enjoyed it. I know I loved putting it together for you guys. So like I said, now is the time, now is go time. We'd love to have you join us, and we're excited for bootcamp starting next week. So there's lots going on. And I kind of shared this before, but I think it can't be shared too many times. But it really is my belief that, no matter what your background is, what your experience is, what your age is, your life stage, where you're from, everyone deserves to do something that they love, including you. And it's always possible. And I share that a lot because that wasn't the message that I got from some people when I was starting my business. There was a lot of people unsure. And luckily, I really wanted it. So they didn't put me off. But I'd hate the idea that somebody else could be put off from essentially a lifetime of doing something that you're passionate about. And especially if you've spent a lot of your life doing something you're not that passionate about, it's like you definitely deserve, whether you join us in the academy or not, to pursue this, and there's space for you. And a lot of people say the jewelry industry is saturated, and honestly, I don't know if it is or it isn't. It doesn't matter to me, but I know that there's space for you. There's space for everyone. There's literally billions of pounds spent on jewelry every year, and we don't need that much in our individual businesses. There is enough slice of the pie to go around for us to be successful. If you have 100 customers and a lot of them return each year, you've got a successful jewelry business. So it's not as hard as it may seem, but there are going to be times when it seems impossible. And that's when we're here to kind of support you, catch you, bring you back up, and remind you how awesome you are. So yes, I believe in you, and I'm here for you, and passionate about supporting you. And I think these businesses need to fit around your lifestyle, whatever that is. We should never look at someone else's business and say, I need to be like them. They're really good at this. I need to be like that. No, you've got your own unique jewelry business inside of you. It's like, I think people say everyone has a book in them. I think everyone has a jewelry business in them that wants one. And so creating one that suits you, that fits around the way you live your life, is what I really would like to support you with. So thank you so much for joining me. I hope you've got some tips and some ideas on how to grow your jewelry business this year. And just keep growing yourself, keep developing, and it will all come. And I will answer any questions if anybody has any. Question. Helen asks, I'm currently doing the silver diploma and loving it. I love that, Helen. And it has inspired me to want to start a jewelry business. I'm thinking about doing the fine jewelry follow-on diploma, but also interested in the business academy. Could both be done at the same year, or would you recommend doing them separately? So usually we do recommend doing them separately, just because the diplomas are very intense. The Business Academy is not as intense. The diplomas are at least kind of 7 hours a week commitment. I'd say the Business Academy is maybe a couple of hours a week commitment, but then of course you want time to develop on your business. However, if you are doing it full time, that would be the only exception that I would say. If you're full-time working on your jewelry business and you feel like you have room for doing like the 7 hours at least on the diploma, plus a good extra few hours on the Business Academy and some time to implement it, so I'd probably say at least 2 days a week on training really and implementation, then that's fine. But if you are, like a lot of people have another job or are raising children, or perhaps have struggles with their health, if you have a lot of other things going on, we wouldn't want you to feel like it's too much. It's better to do one thing at a time and really kind of go all in with it. So there are a few people that do both, but generally speaking, it does depend on your situation, but generally speaking, we'd say do the silver, do the fine, and then come back. The Business Academy is always going to be here for you, so you can come back whenever. And like I said, we have a lot of time. It often feels like, oh, I need to get it all done, but we have years. We have many years. Often we have more years than we think. So we've got to do something with that time. So it's nice to have things to look forward to as well. Hopefully that answered the question. Thank you for asking. Okay, next question. Zoom group calls. What if you work in a full-time job? Would I miss the meetings, as I find most calls are 10 a.m. in the week when I'm at work? Yes, good question. So we ask you when you join when your availability is, roughly, like evenings, daytimes, weekends, and we put you in a group, or we try our best to match you to a group that's at the right time. So we have lunchtime sessions, we have quite a lot of 8 p.m. sessions, like this kind of time. We have lots of sessions throughout the week. So I'm pretty sure we'll be able to match you. Most of them are not at 10 a.m. because a lot of jewelers have other jobs as well. Not all of them, but a lot of them, especially when they're starting, do. So we should, we'll definitely do our best. And I think in most cases we can match you to that. So yeah. Brilliant. Another question Sarah asked, are there mentors within the US to help with line sheets and getting into museums and galleries? Oh, well, we do have a lot of training in how to get into museums and galleries, which applies to everywhere. So we could definitely have someone to help you with that. And we do have some mentors who are from the US as well. I'd say most of our mentors are from the UK, but it depends. I'd want to understand a bit more exactly what you want to do, but I definitely think that we'll be able to find someone who can help you with it. We've got a very big community and a big community of mentors as well. So I'm confident that we'd be able to match you with a jeweler who's done that, who could guide you through the process. But like I said, a lot of the museum and gallery stuff is very similar. We also have line sheets, and we have training inside the boot camp on how to do that as well. But anything specific that you needed to ask, we definitely would be able to help you, I think. Brilliant. How do you price jewelry work while still learning, but with the view of getting quicker and more skilled? Yes. Okay. So this is the question around pricing, and it's around the fact that when you're learning, you're going to be slower. And when you're quicker, you're going to be more skilled. So I think it's really about your hourly rate and whether your hourly rate, like where it's pitched at. And I was actually talking to someone about this the other day, and I was talking about how my hourly rate wouldn't be the same for everything. So if I was spending an hour doing something really complex and working with gold and like intricate stone settings, and like the whole time I have to be hyper focused because I don't want to get it wrong, I would charge more than that hour than I would an hour of like bead stringing, which is lovely and enjoyable, and I can kind of do whilst I'm watching the TV if I want to. So I think that kind of relates to this question a bit. I think it is quite good to have like a student rate, like a learning rate. We often say that jewelers should never pay themselves less than the living wage wherever they are. So if you're based in London, there's like a London living wage. The UK has a living wage. Different countries, if you Google, you should be able to access what your living wage is. The first time you make a piece, you're probably not going to sell the piece. So that's kind of like your first bit of training. But if you know that you're just a little bit slow, then just having a little bit of a lower wage, so maybe starting at the living wage, and then as you speed up, you would increase your hourly rate. So it's an art, not a science. There's not like a specific number I could say this is what you should do. And I think I definitely recommend going along to the pricing masterclasses that we do, because I talk for a whole hour about pricing, which is one of my favorite things to do. It's great fun. It's better than it sounds. And there's a lot of things that come into pricing, but to answer your question in like a kind of more succinct way, I would say, start with a lower wage for your hourly rate, and then as you develop, increase that. So hopefully that answered the question. And Anna has put the pricing masterclass in the chat as well, and there's a spreadsheet that comes along with it and stuff like that. So brilliant question. I love there's all these questions. It's awesome. I haven't made any branding decisions like colors, logo, etc. Is it too soon to join the Business Academy? No, not at all. We would love to help you make those decisions. So actually the boot camp has a great section in about branding. There's a whole course on it. So you'll learn about branding, what kind of different ways to think about it. There's some really interesting books on it as well, because I think when you're doing your branding, it can be really nice to immerse yourself in that world for a little while and kind of think about, what do I really want? So I'm not just picking random colors and trying to get a logo together, but I'm actually thinking about my customer, about my business, about, what do I want to represent? So we would love to help you with that. And there's a really great training around branding inside the bootcamp. So I think you'll get on well with that as well. Brilliant. I think that is all the questions for now. So wonderful. Well, thank you guys so much for joining. Thank you for staying on to the end as well. It's been really lovely to have you here and to see your lovely faces. And yeah, just good luck, and just keep going. That's the main thing. I think I can't remember who said it. It's like quite a famous quote, but it's like the only way this won't work is if you give up. And I would just add to that, the only way it won't work is if you give up and then don't start again. Because there's definitely times where I've given up and then they're like, okay, I will do it a week or so later, a month or so later. So just be gentle with yourself. Growth can be a challenging thing. But it's also, there's so much opportunity, there's so much potential, and there's so much joy that can come out of it as well. So I'm excited to see your businesses grow and you guys grow together as well. And yeah, I look forward to seeing you on some more of our sessions, maybe inside the academy as well. And, as well, we're also on Instagram and Facebook and everywhere. And we'd just love to have you as part of the community. We're a lovely bunch, very friendly, very supportive. So thanks again for being here, and I will see you guys very soon. Bye for now.